And it was done after these things that Amnon, the son of David, loved the fairest sister, Tamar by name, of Absalom, the son of David. And Amnon perished greatly for her, so that he was sick for her love. For since she was a virgin, it seemed hard to him that he should do anything unhonestly with her. But there was a friend to Amnon, Jonadab by name, the son of Shimeah, the brother of David. And Jonadab was a full prudent man, which said to Amnon, son of the king, Why art thou made feeble so by leanness, by old days? Why showest thou not to me? And Amnon said to him, I love Tamar, the sister of my brother Absalom. But Jonadab answered to him, Lie thou on thy bed, and feign thou sickness, and when thy father cometh, that he visit thee, say to him, I pray, Come, Tamar, my sister, that she give meat to me, and make a stew that I eat of it of her hand. Therefore Amnon lay down, and feigned to be sick. And when the king had come to visit him, Amnon said to the king, I beseech, come, Tamar, my sister, that she make 2 supplings before my eyes, and then I take of her hand the meat made ready. Therefore David sent to the house of Tamar, and said, Come thou into the house of Amnon, thy brother, and make thou a stew to him. And Tamar came into the house of Amnon, her brother, and he lay down, and she took meal, and mixed together, and made moist before her eyes, and before his eyes, and sieved suppings. And she took that she had sodden, and poured it out, and set it before him. And he would not eat. And Amnon said, Put ye out all men from me. And when they had put out all men, Amnon said to Tamar, Bear the meat into bed closet, that I eat of thine hand. Therefore Tamar took the suppings which she had made, and brought in to Amnon her brother in the bed closet. And when she had proffered the meat to him, he took her and said, Come thou, my sister, lie thou with me. And she answered to him, My brother, do not thou oppress me, for this is not leaveful in Israel. Do not thou do this folly, for I shall not be able to bear my shame, and thou shalt be as one of the unwise men in Israel. But rather speak thou to the king, and he shall not deny me to thee. Soothly, he would not assent to her prayers, but he was stronger in might, and oppressed her, and lay with her. And then, with full great hatred, Amnon hated her, so that the hatred was greater by which he hated her, than the love by which he loved her before. And Amnon said to her, Rise thou, and go. And she answered to him, This evil is more which thou doest now against me, and puttest me out, than that thou didst before. And he would not bear her. But when the child was called, that ministered to him, he said, Put thou out this woman from me, and close thou the door after her. And she was clothed with a coat down to the heel, for the king's daughters who were virgins used such clothes. Then the servant of Amnon put her out, and closed the door after her. And she sprinkled ashes onto her head, and when her long coat was rent, and her hands put on her head, she went entering and crying. And Absalom her brother said to her, Whether Amnon thy brother hath lain with thee? But now, sister, be still. He is thy brother, and torment thou not thine heart for this thing. Therefore Tamar dwelled mourning in the house of Absalom her brother. Forsooth, when David had heard these words, he was full sorry, and he would not make sore the spirit of Amnon his son, for he loved Amnon, for he was his first begotten son. And Absalom spake not to Amnon, neither evil nor good, for Absalom hated Amnon, for he had defiled Tamar his sister. And it was done after the time of 2 years, that the sheep of Absalom were shorn in Baal Hazor, which is beside Ephraim. And Absalom called all the sons of the king, and he came to the king and said to him, Lo, the sheep of thy servant be shorn, I pray. Come the king with his servants to his servant. And the king said to Absalom, Do not thou, my son, do not thou, I pray. Do not thou, my son, do not thou pray that we come and charge thee. And when he constrained David, and he would not go, he blessed Absalom. And Absalom said to David, If thou wilt not come, I beseech thee, come namely Amnon, my brother, with us. And the king said to him, It is no need that he go with thee. Therefore Absalom constrained him, and he delivered with him Amnon. and all the sons of the king. And Absalom had made a feast as the feast of a king. And Absalom commanded to his children and said, Espy ye, when Amnon is drunken of wine, and when I say to you, Smite ye, and slayeth him. Do not ye dread, for I am that command to you. Be ye strengthened, and be ye strong men. Therefore the children of Absalom did against Amnon, as Absalom had commanded to them. And all the sons of the king rose up and ascended, each upon his mule, and fled. And when they went yet in the way, the fame came thereof to the king, and it was said, Absalom hath slain all the sons of the king, and namely not one of them is left. Therefore the king rose up and rent his clothes, and fell down on the earth, and all his servants that stood nigh to him rent their clothes. But Jonadab, the son of Shimeah, brother of David, answered and said, My lord the king, guessest thou not that all the young men and sons of the king be slain? Amnon alone is dead, for he was set in hatred to Absalom from the day in which he oppressed Tamar his sister. Now therefore, my lord the king, set not this word on his heart, and say, all the sons of the king be slain, for Amnon alone is dead. Forsooth Absalom fled, and a child, a spire, raised his eyes and beheld, and lo, much people came by a way out of the common way, by the side of the hill. And Jonadab said to the king, Lo, the sons of the king come, after the word of thy servant. So it is done. And when he had ceased to speak, also the sons of the king appeared, and they entered, and raised up their voice, and wept. But also the king and his servants wept with full great weeping. Forsooth Absalom fled and went to Talmai, the son of Ammihud, the king of Geshur. Therefore David bewailed his son Amnon in many days. Forsooth Absalom, when he had fled and had come into Geshur, was there 3 years. And David ceased to pursue Absalom, for he was comforted upon the death of Amnon.